Hello and welcome to our Friday webinar. We are back on with Lisa Bono. Welcome, Lisa. Uh,
Hi.
hey, we're doing another episode of The Gray Way. And this one, oh my gosh, this is Ask Lisa Anything about African grays. Or I imagine some other parrot stuff, but yeah, focus on grays today. This is gonna be exciting. I'm excited to see what you're going to be asked, and then it could be anything about grays, right?
Right. Yep.
Just to who do we have behind us? You got you got your flock.
We have Miss Sam is right here. And then we have Emma over here. Back here behind the tree, that's Abby. And then we have down here is Sterling. Sydney started screaming right before we went live, so he had to get out of the room. So, because he can be rather loud. So it feels very weird not having a presentation this week, all week long I kept saying, oh, I got to do it. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have to do a presentation because it's ask questions. So it feels very strange not having something to
Oh yeah,
look. Yeah. I'm so used to that. So
that's great. So wait, okay, I'm gonna ask you a question while we wait for our questions. What is the what is the combined age of your African grays? If
oh
you were to
boy. Give me a second.
it's a math equation for you.
Probably about 145.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then with my Kaik as well, about 165, 170.
Wow.
So yes.
It's a lot of great graytude going on in your household there.
Yes. I have the birds behind me as well, in case anybody wants any kind of, examples or wants me to show them, how to do something or whatever. I figured Emma and Sam would be very good at that. So.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. So we are just going to, I guess we'll dive into questions. If anyone's ask anything about great. Okay, I'm gonna start. So grays are when are grays more we just did posted a repost article by on Lafeber about fall hormones. For grays, when is their most hormonal time of the year?
I find it's going into September through like January-ish, because September, I believe September and October, they're starting to look for mates down in Africa. And then you're going to have November when they're starting to do their thing. December is when, they're mating and the eggs are starting to hatch, and same thing with January. So it doesn't really change too much, because they're here. I just noticed that's when in my store, I would say, close to 90 something percent were African gray people. And they would all come in at the same time and tell me that their birds are doing the Elizabethan collar. And, it was always in that beginning of October, because it was always around my birthday. So it was the beginning of October, all my clients were coming in and telling me the same thing, and my guys were doing the same thing at home. So, and that also comes from one of my friends who's a breeder. That is the time when, she has babies. Yes, they do have babies different times of the years here, because depending on when the breeders put up the box and, have them all together. But I'm going with what's in Africa.
Wow. So this time of year, we're right in the hot middle of it. Sounds like.
Yes.
And what age do they typically start showing this hormonal behavior?
About 5 to 6. I see a lot online where people will have babies, a year and a half old, and they'll start asking, because the birds are starting to huffy and puffy, and gray owners know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. They'll lower their wings, they'll actually make a huff and puff and sound. They'll act very excited. And that's really more of a baby thing, but yet I see it all the time online. Oh, your bird's hormonal. It's, wants to have babies. Not at a year and a half, they don't. So, so yeah, that's a myth that's going on.
Okay. And are males or females more hormonal than the other, or are they basically similar? Which would you rather be around during this time of year to pick up without any hesitation?
Well, I have to say both of them are very different. I don't really have much of a problem. You would think I would. You would think I would already have eggs just because all the hormones flying in my house. I have the 3 girls, the 2 boys. I have not had any eggs yet. And I don't let them really interact, but that people who have single birds know that's really not a deterrent because their single birds still have eggs. I make sure I don't do, any of the touching on the back or under the wings. I try to limit more of the mushy foods that are going to, represent me feeding them. So I don't see a lot of typical hormone stuff. I mean, Abby does get a little bit more lovey. And by that, I mean, she leans into me. She squeaks a little bit. She wants to be held more. She wants to be scratched. And that's really on her terms and her terms only. Because if I go to try to scratch her head, she'll let me know she's not in the mood by turning around and attempting to nip at me, or if she's in a real bad mood and I'm not watching your body language in her eyes, she's connected. The girls tend to be, in general, the girls tend to be a little bit more sweet, meaning easygoing. They don't give you a lot of a hard time if you ask them to step up or something simple like that. If they're not in the mood, they'll give you that look. They'll squint at you. And that's their look to say, I'm not in the mood. And if with Abby, if I push it, and that's my fault for pushing, she will bite because that's her mood. Now the boys, with their behavior, what they'll do is they'll get big and poofy. And they'll try to they'll go like this and they'll try to warn you like they're big and tough. And if you persist, most times, like if Sterling was to do that to me, I would present my hand and tell him to step up. Most times, even though he's big and poofy and doing all this, he still steps up. If he was to connect and bite, he'll look at me immediately and his body language completely changes to show that maybe he shouldn't have done that, or not that he's sorry, because they don't, I'm sure he doesn't feel that he's sorry, but he didn't mean to do it. Where if Abby bites me, she looks at me and just like, I told you so. So that's the real difference with the boys and the girls.
Okay.
So
does this taper down with have you noticed any tapering down of hormones as they get older?
no,
so it just all ages.
I have not. Sterling is 42 now, and he's always eyeing the girls. He's in the mood, but he's never really been able to touch another bird, besides beak. And that would be with Abby when she decides to go roaming from her tree to his tree if I don't move them exactly enough apart. And he gets very snippy with all the other girls. Like he would be all excited and showing like he wants to interact, and then he'll nail them. So, that's why, when Abby looks at him with her little eyes and she tries moving over, I said, no, he's not a nice parrot. Don't do that. So I don't want somebody to lose a toe.
And so just my final question about this, but would you compare him to any other species? Like as far as when hormones hit, is there any, for those who might not have a gray, but another?
Well, actually, I've had a lot of cockatiels, and actually, I'll show you my little cockatiel necklace right there.
I was going to mention that earlier. That is fabulous, by the way. Yes.
I also love cockatiels, and I had 17 of them at one point, and a lot of them ended up just coming into my home because they needed a place, or my birds did have babies and I ended up keeping them. I can tell you during mating season, there was no stopping these cockatiels. It didn't matter if they were in this huge flight, there would always be an egg that shows up. Was it fertile? Was it not? I didn't know. I would let my two that were proven parents take care of the egg to see if it was going to hatch. I received probably one of my worst bites from a cockatiel when she had her eggs. She bit down right through my nail, right under the quick of my nail up here. And when this grew up, it was split down the middle. I had no nail. It was, and I was a manicurist at the time, so that didn't look pretty. And trying to explain to everybody that happened because of my cockatiel, yeah, they didn't really believe it. But yeah, that was really my worst bite.
Wow.
I've found with Amazons, which I've lived with Amazons for a very long time as well. I usually had the males. I did have an orange wing that was a female, which was absolutely a sweetheart and never showed any kind of hormonal or aggressive behavior. But my males, double yellow headed and a blue front, I really didn't see any difference to time of the year with their aggression or hormones. They always seemed to be really on the hunt for me. So that was Sterling laughing in the background because he witnessed it. I would always say that they were just jealous they weren't grays. So yeah, those are the species that I've lived with the longest, 20 years plus, to really comment on different species.
All right. That covered a lot of ground for my questions. We have a question about play style. So what's the play style of grays? They say that they know there's differences, but wondering if there's a general tendency to be like engineers like cockatoos or termites like conures, clowns like Senegal, etc. I love these summaries here because they're kind of spot on.
Could relate because I've had conures and cockatoos in the house. Grays tend to be shredders. They love their shredding material. And again, I don't suggest full boxes. I see people make little so-called rooms and stuff for their birds. I don't encourage that because it's only going to lead to behavior problems and more hormones and issues you don't want to deal with that are going to cost you a lot of money in the long run. So with the boxes, of course, cut them up, put them on a little skewer. There's a lot of great stainless steel skewers out there. Get that, put them on there. But they pretty much love to shred. And just like any other bird that's given the opportunity, they will try to get under things. So a lot of people think it's cute when the bird's getting underneath their cabinet because they're going under there, they think to play. But again, that's more nesting behavior. So
okay. So what would be what's your like top if you were doing a regular toy shopping for your grays, what would be your top three that your go-tos? What are your
as far as toys?
Yeah.
They love the softer woods. Again, like I've said to people before, when you're in a store, it's very hard to do it online. I do a lot of personal shopping for my clients, but when you're in a store, what you want to do is you want to take a block of wood, and I don't care if it's balsa, if it's sola, or if it's pine, but you want to take your thumb and take your nail and try to make a little imprint in it. If you're able to make a little imprint in it, and the wood is the balsa can be as big as it wants because I could chew on that. So it's so soft. But with the pine, you really want to stay an inch or less, but you want to be able to make, an imprint with your thumbnail. If you don't, it's really going to be a little bit too hard for a gray. I don't do a lot of like Java and stuff for grays because they, as you can see by my trees, I have some trees here that are from 2004. And Abby is like the one who chews. She has tried her best to destroy her tree and she has not. So it's really too hard for her. So you want to do the softer woods. Birds, grays also like acrylics. So they're getting a little bit harder to find. There used to be a lot of them. Like my husband used to fly and maintain helicopters for the Army and the New Jersey National Guard. So I actually found little helicopters that are acrylic. And so everybody has one of those, of course. But you want to look for the acrylic. I think it's Epic Bird Toys does a lot of acrylic stuff, and they're very good. You want to make sure if you're giving any kind of bell that it's really enclosed in something. I'm not a big fan of anything less than a stainless steel cowbell for these guys. So they make tubular stainless steel bells, which are great. They do like noise, but you just got to make sure that that they're not regurgitating into it, because Sammy every once in a while gets in the mood for that. So and then the other thing the birds like are really going to be shredders. There's a lot of great shredding companies out there, whether it's cardboards or they have waffle paper. There's the pinatas itself. There's a lot of great companies that do that.
And what about puzzle toys? Because you always associate the smart thinking toys with grays, especially because they're so intelligent. Is that?
I have a couple. My guys, suppose if I had one bird and I did a lot of one-on-one with these puzzle toys, like you see the ones on YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, maybe my guys would like them a little bit more. But really, I haven't had much luck with them because I have so many grays. So if I'm sitting there and I'm just playing with Emma in her cage, trying to teach her this toy, I have 4 others that are looking at me and screaming and carrying on because I'm not sitting in front of their cage playing with them, trying to teach them. So there are some that are foraging toys, acrylic toys, puzzle toys that are better than others, that the grays will actually go for. But again, they would really like to have something shredded with their toys, with treats and stuff shoved up inside the cardboards or whatever. So you can pretty much make a foraging toy out of any toy if you're creative. So the pinatas, you can just separate the pom fronds a little bit and stick them in there. There's a lot of things you could do.
Do they ever do collaborative problem solving? Since they're
the only thing my guys do, say for instance, Sydney works out a nut out of a foraging toy. The only collaboration they have is Emma will walk over there and steal the nut out of his beak.
That's funny.
And he just looks at her like, are you kidding me? Now, if that was another bird doing it, he would go after him. But it seems Emma can do anything she wants.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. We have a question. Denise asked, my female gray has been mean to my other gray lately. Not sure if she's not sure of their sex. Both are in their late teens. Let's see. Oh, she's not absolutely sure of their sex. They're both in their late teens. The female has been mean to the other gray lately.
Okay. Well, you could have some hormones going on. She, with my guys, Emma tends to be more of a pest to the other ones because she's stealing their food, or Abby's taking their toys or something like that. So what you want to try to do is with your gray that's, not being as friendly, maybe you want to make her number one when you're doing things, whether it's take her out first, put her, on her playpen first, then go to the other one, spend a little extra time. There might be a little bit jealousy. I'm not going to put a label on it, but we all know what we're talking about. She might see you maybe holding the other one more, talking a certain way to the other one. And so that's what I would do. I would make her a priority. Now, when I was away down in Florida, my husband received a very nasty bite from Sterling. And on the phone, he sent me a picture and he said, look what your bird did to me. And I said, well, what happened? What happened first? Where did, and he says, well, I went to take him out in the morning and he nailed me. I said, well, what number did you take out? Was he number 1? Was he number 3? He says, I saved him for last. I said, that was your problem. He's used to coming out first. So always take him out first and put him on his tree. After that, my husband hasn't been bit. So I guess Sterling was just not, happy with the way things went, and let him know.
So he has to mind the pecking order, so to speak, I guess. Respect the pecking order.
Yes, and the reason I take Sterling out first, him and Emma, they have their sleep cages, and they will not poop in their sleep cages. So I take them out first. I actually carry Emma upside down so she doesn't poop on the floor. So I'll carry her in my hand, and I'll take Sterling out, and I'll put them over garbage, and that's where they'll go. Now, I'm not saying they're trained. If they're in their sleep cage long enough, they will, but they'll hold it. So they'd rather not. So that's why, you take them out first, you let them do what they got to do, and then put them on their trees, and then everybody's happy.
All right. We have a question from Ronald. He has 2 young male grays. The 1.5-year-old plucked himself in January, and he's still trying to grow his feathers back. The plucking appears to be caused by changing the environment, cage, such as a cage, and the addition of another male, Smoky gray. I guess Smoky is larger. Could be due to the pecking order, like we were just talking about. So he had him to a vet and found no medical problems. He seems to have stopped plucking with many toys and it's going through an extensive toy budget. Feel your pain there. The new feathers don't seem to be more fragile, but his is getting fluffier. So will the feathers grow back, and is there a time period when they will not grow back at all? Is there like a, going off the cliff of no return, as far as feather goes?
I could tell you
Like,
that
what's your
Sydney,
experience? Yeah.
with Sydney, he's been a plucker since he's been about 3. We're not exactly sure why. He's had multiple tests. I'm telling you, the full gamut of tests, that range me about $750 for the entire test. And we've done those tests 3 times. And then we've done individual tests. Nothing ever comes back, but we don't know why he does it. He is now 21. And what happens, when he was 3, he started plucking out these feathers all over the place, and then they started coming in red. I don't know if that's, I know his parents were red factor, but this is just kind of like weird places, and it seems to be the places that he plucked. So they started coming in red, and I could tell you, even after all these years, it's random spots, but he still gets feathers in. So I would want to know what tests the vets did to check him. Only because there could be some other things. There could be allergies to certain foods. It could be that you brought the other bird in, like you mentioned, and this younger one was used to having all the attention. And that's kind of what happened with Sydney, because he came in when I had my Timneh Gray, Otis, and then Otis ended up passing away. So Sydney was really like this, only little bird. And then we had Sterling come in because my dad got sick. And then we had Emma come in because she needed a home. Then we had Abby come in because she needed to go to a different place. And then we had Sam come in because her owner died. So he watched all these changes come into my house. And while he, probably isn't the happiest with all that, I can't see that he started plucking more than he was previously. But I would, if they're coming in differently, I would probably discuss that with your vet. To see what's going on. And if you want to contact me privately and let me know what tests were done and maybe what kind of foods you're feeding, that also might play into it.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Susan wants to know, they're looking for a natural rope, perches and swings that are big enough for a gray. So every time they find the ropes, they're too small. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah,
Bigger
there's a
ropes.
companies. Yeah, there's a couple companies out there that actually have boings and ropes and such that are about an inch. You just have to make sure you're going to a reputable company. Buddha makes a lot of rope perches, all different sizes, all different styles. I believe they're online. You could look that up and see what different sizes that they have. If you're looking for a boing, I mean, Kings make some that go up to, I think, 1.75 inches, which would be way too big. You know, everybody wants to go extra large, but that's going to be more for the macaw feet. So you want to stay with, you know, in that 1 inch range, because these perches are going to be moving a little bit. And, you know, especially if it's a boing or a swing, you want to make sure they have a good grip on it. So,
And if you,
and
sorry,
there's also a great company, back here, this right here, this is a boing. This has a thicker, metal in it than most of the boings, and that comes from Bird Toys, etc. So those are really the boings that I go with, because a lot of the grays with the boings, if they move too much, birds will be frightened of it. Now, cockatoos, macaws, you know, lories, even kikes love the bouncing. Grays really don't, unless you have a special one.
so you know, like some of some of them come in like three sizes: small, medium, large, and in perches and in ropes and toys. Are what would a gray fall into more times than not? Like if you were choosing
Depends on
those.
depends on the company. It's
Okay.
really hard to say that. Some companies rope boings are going to be an inch. When they're small, it's going to be 1/2 inch. So that's one particular company. The next one might start at, you know, 5/8 and then go up to 1.75 inches.
Okay.
So a lot of times what you could do, especially if you're dealing with a company directly, you can always call them and ask them. So to make sure you're getting the right product. I mean, I do a lot of personal shopping for my clients. And if people have questions or something that I cannot answer with 100% certainty, I will call the companies and I'll find out exactly what the people need, so they're getting the right product. So I do it. I'm sure you guys could do it too.
Good suggestion there. And when in doubt, just go to the source, right? Who's making them? Um, so this is here we go. What online sites do you recommend for safe toys? Or so the ones that you trust?
My store.
Your store, there you go.
Yeah, I have the platinumparrot.com. I have access to thousands of toys. The toys that I have access to, I use for my own birds. I will not sell a toy that I deem unsafe. So my guys have a lot of experience going through the years, even with the store when I was ordering toys, sight unseen online, because sometimes you have to do that if there's a distributor in California and I was in New Jersey. If it arrived to my store and I didn't like it, it did not go on the shelf for sale. It either got taken apart for pieces that we could use and given away, or, you know, it got tossed out. So some of the toys that I do like and use a lot for myself are going to be Mighty Bird toys. You have Parrot's Treasure. You have Planet Pleasures. Those are going to be some of the pinatas. So, you know, but like I said, if you're looking for something in specific, I can certainly help you out. And if I can't get it, I can send you to where you can get it from.
Okay. And Lori asks, any ideas for fun exercises or way to increase physical activity for their gray? So right now, she runs around the floor every morning for about 20 minutes with constant direct supervision. She hates her play gym, and she's tried so many other things the last 20 years, no luck. They tried a leash for flying outdoors, but it's difficult to get her on, and she picks at it, refuses to fly. So they've actually never made it outside with the leash on.
Okay.
So because they're worried that she'd fly out, could chew it off and get away. So what do you suggest for getting your grays some cardio?
Okay, well, what I used to do with my guys is I would have them on the coffee table. Now I would put them on the bed. You put a sheet down on the bed. You have a couple of their favorite toys. They tend to like balls. Sometimes with the bells, make sure it's not the cat lattice toy. Grab one out of my cabinet here. Okay, so what I'll do with this thing, and you can see all my guys are now in there. Goes down. So what I'll do with this is I'll put a sheet down on my bed. I will take that ball and take one of the birds in there, and I'll kind of toss it, and they'll run after the ball and they'll toss it back. So a lot of times you're playing catch with them because you have to go fetch it. But that's a lot of good cardio running back and forth. They might jump in the air, especially if you have a more animated one. You can certainly have them on your hand and walk a little faster through the house. You can encourage it that way. You can do a little bit more on one with like the puzzle toys and stuff like that. You can do that in between playing with something like this. That would be good to, keep them going because they're going to get tired chasing a ball and throwing a ball. So then you have your one-on-one teaching them to do this, and then you go back to the ball. My guys, I'd like to say my guys can all fly, but Emma has a twisted neck and spine. So she flies like a boomerang. So she only gets about 8 feet away and comes right back. So she can't fly in a straight line. As y'all know, Abby can't fly now because of her heart condition. Sterling and Sam fly every day. And then Sydney, depending, sometimes and I'm not for clipping, but because he tends to be aggressive towards the other birds and we need to be protected, I will do a baby clip on him, meaning the outer 2 primaries. So it makes it harder for him to go after the birds. I would much rather see him being able to fly around and do what comes natural because it's healthier and it's safer. As far as with the harness not being able to get them out and the bird chewing on it, of course, the bird's not used to whatever's around them, just like we would be if somebody wrapped us up in an ace bandage. So what you want to do is you can have their favorite treat. And once you get it on them, and instead of them picking it, you can have your finger there, because I've had to do this with Emma because she gets a little picky on them. You can have your finger there, and I just usually tap her beak if she starts, or I'll have her favorite treat. And of course, she loves food, so she would rather have her favorite treat. So I give her itty bitty little slivers to keep busy, and then I maybe not keep the harness on as long. And then the next time, extend the harness a little bit longer. Next time, extend the harness a little bit longer. So they're used to it. So you can't really put anything on them, whether it's, I've seen people put jackets and coats and stuff. You can't really do that and just expect them to be okay. You have to work up so they know it's okay.
Okay. What about ladders? Do you ever try those with I remember back where you have the long ladder and you have them climb the top, and then just when they're going to clear, you put it back upside down to the bottom, and they have to climb up it like a.
Yeah,
you graze like that.
The ladders are a good idea, but I would have that if you have a bird that you want to get back up to the tree. My guys don't go on the floor, so I don't really have any ladders. I don't encourage that because I encourage them to stay up off the floor. I can't control what my husband brings in on his shoes when he walks through the house. We also have avian influenza that is, I think it was said it's in 37 states right now. So you have to, you have to be careful. You follow biosecurity, make sure you're not taking your shoes in the house, and try to keep the birds up. So that's why I don't play with the ball on the floor. I'll do it on my bed. It's a lot more running space. We used to do it on our coffee table, but my husband would be on one side, I'd be on the other. Sydney would be running back and forth on the coffee table, catching the ball and throwing it to one of us. So there's a lot of different ways to keep them busy and occupied.
Okay.
Yes.
Good points there. So Robbie wants to know, wants to hear more about the seizure lecture that you had attended. Anything new on seizures? Their Timneh Brandon passed a couple years ago at the age of 17 from seizures. So we had a clean bill of health until then. So curious if you have any updates.
Let me see. Let me see. I should have my notes right here. Okay, so what I could do, I was in the Association of Avian Veterinarians conference last week, and that's when we talked about it. See what I got, if I have anything. Telomeres. I think what we'll probably have to do, Robbie, is chat afterwards and maybe see if I'm allowed to give you some notes for that. Let me see. I got so many notes going on here. I wasn't prepared for that. So I feel like, who is it that's up at the lectern in the White House that does the briefings every day? I feel like her, my book. They did talk about different kinds of medications that are going to work. Again, they talked about how some medications do better with grays than other species. I knew that was with pain medications, but they're finding out a lot of different medications need to be given to grays than, say, Amazons or macaws and stuff like that. So that was part of it. But I have so many notes here to go through and read that I'm probably going to have to do that at another time.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot to, especially those conferences can get kind of technical. I'll call them vetical, veterinary technical.
So I got to go through my notes, and of course, I'm not a vet, so for me to try to write stuff down, I mean, these are my notes. So I know it's backwards, but half the stuff's not spelt right because I don't know how to spell it because I'm not a vet. So that's why I got to look through it and make sure I'm saying the right thing.
Very good. Okay. So Ronald want to know, would the lack of flying due to no feathers cause a health issue? How long do we have to get the flight feathers back on him? So how long do they have to wait? And is it going to be a problem if they can't get to, to flying to get that workout in? Health issues related to that.
Feather plucking on the chest is really not going to deter a bird from flying. You're going to, all birds really molt all year long. They have their heavier molt, especially right now as we're starting to turn on our heat, and the air becomes drier. And then again in the spring when we're turning on the air and it's the temperature changes are what's going to really cause it. You should, I would think, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe within a year, they pretty much molt all their feathers. So if he has a bad wing clip, when he has his feathers growing in, they're going to all grow in at different stages. So you want to make sure that if he has one just poking out, there's a greater chance of that being broken because it's not protected by all the other feathers. So you want to kind of keep him limited so he doesn't break that feather off and it all starts all over again. Keep that in mind when it's growing in. You could walk around the house, you can still have him flap. Just make sure when he's on your hand, let me get somebody. Sweetheart. Okay. So just make sure when you have them on your hand, this is how I hold them, like I'm going to shake somebody's hand. All right. And then what I do is I take my thumb and put it lightly, just barely on her toe. And then she can flap her way around. This is how we get back to the cage at night, or sleep cage, is she will get on my hand, and this is the only time she's able to fly straight. So she'll hold on, she'll get her exercises in, and we've done this forever. Say hello. So that's really how you want to keep the exercising going until the feathers come in.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, someone's.
You can hear Sterling back there. I think he wants to be in on a lecture. He keeps saying, okay, yeah.
We'll
Right,
have to have them.
Sterling?
How many do you just how many of your grays do they speak or mimic human words, phrases? It's the other thing they're known for, right? The sounds and the
Yeah, I'm listening to him at the same time. I really think that the Grays can talk to you and know what they're saying. I'm not going to walk into the room and Sterling say bye-bye. He'll walk in and he'll say hi. So for some reason, he calls me Emma. I think because I'm always, talking to Emma, and I think he likes the word, so everybody's Emma. But I think, when Sam, I'll ask her what her favorite is. I don't know if she'll do it right now. Let me see. Sam. Sterling. Yes, Sterling. Sam, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? Yeah, you're not gonna say anything? Okay, she's being shy. Usually when I say what's your favorite, she'll say apple water.
apple
So,
water.
yeah, so if we were sitting down, she tends to spend a little bit more time after everybody's in bed with me on the chaise lounge at night. So she'll sit right here because we're not moving, and we have our little chat, and she'll look at me and she'll just go apple water, and and that's apple juice, or it's really cranberry juice, but she calls it apple water. So and if I don't give it to her, she keeps saying it. Now, if she says it and I get up, I'll come over and I'll say, is it good? And she'll go, yeah, just like that, really super cute little voice. So I really do believe it's more than just mimicking. I think they know what they're talking about.
Oh, that's adorable. Maybe she's calling you maybe they're calling you apple water as your as a sweet
It,
attribution.
she knows what she wants. And the other night I asked her, what's your name? She's never said Sam. So the other night I just asked her, while we were having our little chat, what's your name? And she said, apple water. I said, no, that's not your name. So, but yeah, she knows that time at night, that's when, she's going to possibly get it. We do it probably once a week or so to keep her syringe trained.
Oh, okay. Oh, I heard a
Yes.
hello there.
Yeah, that's Sterling.
So we have a question from Daisy and yeah, okay. So Daisy oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if maybe the bird's name. Daisy is the bird. Preens like your two grays, the one on the left and one on the right. Is that a normal way of preening? They worry about the sight of, they worry about looking for signs of plucking because she's 6. So this gray is 6 years old. Wants to know if preening, similar to how your grays are, is that something that's normal?
Yeah, they're gonna preen several times throughout the day. I mean, they're keeping their feathers in place. I mean, that's just instinctual. They need to make sure the feathers are in a fixed spot to fly. That's what they do in the wild. They'll mess with the little down feathers underneath, and you're gonna constantly, I mean, I think I got one stuck to my light right here. You're gonna constantly see little white feathers all over the place. So that is not plucking. That is just normal. With those little down feathers to fly all over the place. You'll see the occasional feather. If I notice when I uncover my birds in the morning, if there's a couple feathers that are in the bottom of the cage, first thing I'm going to do is notice if those feathers look like they all came from the same place.
Hmm.
So if I have a wing feather and I have, a back feather and then a belly feather and then an itty bitty little feather, I just know that was normal preening and those feathers are ready to come out. If I have 15 feathers that are exactly alike and I could tell they all came from the chest, then I know there's an issue, and that's when I call the vet.
Okay. Ooh, I like this. Brenda posted this question. Are there, just to throw it out there, are there differences in health concerns for Timneh versus Congo grays? Do they tend to have different behavioral problems or behavioral quirks? Sorry, quirks.
I
The difference
really
between
know
those two.
I don't really know any different medical things that could go wrong. I think they're both you'll have like aspergillosis is harder to treat in any African gray than say in Amazon. So I don't think there's any real difference there. My first Timneh was older when I got him. I was terrified of him. Granted, I was young when I got him because I was in my early 20s. He was a true rescue. I don't take that word lightly. He was a true rescue that came in. I took him in. I was terrified of him because of what the owner said about him. But then once I had him and worked with him, I realized he was a very sweet bird. Never really bit anybody but my husband. Again, long story. But and he seemed to be calmer, maybe not as afraid of things. Like, for instance, at a baby Congo, he did not like milk jugs. He did not like paper bags. He did not like cardboard boxes. It was very hard to go shopping and come home because he was in the living room and he'd see me coming in with these things and he'd carry on. Where I didn't see the Timneh do any of that at all. Now with Sam, she is my least skittish of all my African grays. And she's the Congo. Where the other ones, for instance, last night, I was in the sunroom here with the birds, and all of a sudden an alarm started going off. And 4 of them took off, and Sam's just looking at everybody like, all right, where'd you all go? And here I am trying to get everybody back up on the trees and then go find out, is it the smoke alarm? Is it the carbon monoxide alarm? What's going on? Never quite found out what it was. My alarm company said it didn't come through them, so it had to be the builder alarm that went off. But again, she just stood there and watched everybody else freak out and fly all over. So
Timnehs are smaller, right? And
yes,
are
they're a
they
little bit small.
Yeah.
Little bit smaller, a little bit darker. They have the cutest little like sweater vest look going on. They tend to be, again, I don't want to label and say skittish, but as nervous and reactive as say the Congos are. Talking ability is the same. Lifespan, I do believe, is maybe a couple of years less than the larger Congo, but not by much. Health concerns are the same. With medications and treating, it doesn't matter whether you have a Congo or a Timneh, it's just different medications work with African grays for some reason.
Do they take this? Sorry, do they use the same perch width size and rope perch, or are their feet that much smaller?
Well, it really depends. Now, for instance, Emma, a Congo, her weight is 372 grams. She's an extremely tiny little bird. My Timneh was 300, almost 360 grams. Timnehs are smaller, but Otis was a huge Timneh. So they were about the same size. So their perch size, I wouldn't go more than an inch. I've had some people tell me their Timnehs are low 200s. So of course you need a smaller perch size for that because, that's the size of some conures. So they're all individuals. My smallest Congo is Emma 372. My largest was 680. Ooh. Still a Congo. So
wow.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of clients that would have both a Timneh and a Congo? Or is it usually one or the other?
Most people end up having Congos. And the reason being is this is what I've read so long ago, and I haven't seen anything to change my mind elsewhere, is that the pet stores usually go and get the Congos because they're showier. They got the bright tail, they're larger. We have Alex, the African gray, who's a Congo. So that's what people go in looking for. They cost more because of that. So most people end up having a Congo. I love Timnehs. I love them just as much as Congos. I don't care if they have a red tail or not. They can have that cute little maroon tail and that little sweater vest. You know, they're fantastic. And sadly, a lot of times they're overlooked.
Okay. And then we have a question. Colleen has 3 parrots. None of them play with a piñata. They love brown paper lunch bags tied at the top and filled with goodies, kind of like a piñata. Why do all of their fids just like piñatas? So they like things like piñatas, but the actual piñata style is not their style.
Well, it really depends. There's different piñatas out there. There are piñatas that are made out of the same paper material as a paper bag. Okay. But then again, her birds, I know all her birds, Colleen's a friend. They may not, some birds don't like eyeballs. So some of these piñatas that are going to have the same material as a paper bag are going to have paper eyeballs on them. And a lot of birds don't like that. I know my guys don't really like faces. So the typical piñata that she's talking about, that's going to be a woven palm leaf. So it's going to be a tougher material than, say, the other piñatas with eyeballs. That's the best way I can describe them. And it really comes down to a personal preference. You know, they have probably 20 different type of the palm leaf piñatas. So you might want to start out with maybe a toy that only has a couple little strips, because they have like a woven toy. All right, so it is just a woven strip of palm leaf. So you can cut it up, you can weave it into cage bars. You can make your own toys out of it. You might want to try something like that, that's simple and small, versus a great big piñata that's filled with this, you know, like not coconut fiber, but that type of material. So yeah. Emma loves piñatas, but she only likes the large size. So we started out with the small size for Emma because she's nervous around new things. That's partially my problem, my fault. I created that. But that's another story. So we've moved her from the small to the medium, and she was just going through them so quick. We went to the large. All right, well, the next thing is, let's try it again. Let's go to the extra large. Well, she wouldn't go near the extra large, even though it was like 2 inches bigger. So large piñatas are the only thing that Emma will chew on.
Okay, there you go. Maybe try different sizes. And
Yep.
there's also the paper piñatas with the ones that look like little miniature.
I have one of those too. Hold on. Let's see if I can grab it out to show you what I mean with the eyeballs.
Yeah, so there is. You
So
just take the eyeballs off.
Correct. So, and then I use paper bags too, filled with stuff. So this one just happens to be a solo ball. So I have their closet is completely packed with toys. So
I could see you got them all handy there.
Yeah, because this is their little. You do this. Here's their little toy.
Wow.
So I have, their directions, and there's more toys down here. So this is their little area.
Do they ever break in there and just grab a bunch of toys?
Abby likes to go in there. She's always leaning towards there, but again, it's more like a nest cavity. I know which birds like what. So, and for instance, here's an acrylic toy to play with. This is a forager. So I got this one for Emma because it's really simple. So, but there's so many different things out there that you can use and that they do like. So
there you go. All right. So guess what? I need to announce today's giveaway winner. So we're going to be giving away the Senior Bird Nurture Berries, as well as a Lafeber product for your bird's choice. And that's going to Robbie Renteria. Hope I said your last name right. So Robbie, yeah, the Senior Bird Nurture Berries, I hope to say this every time, but they are fine to feed to any age of parrot, but they're especially beneficial to our older birds. And then Lisa, we have an extra special announcement. I'm gonna let Lisa announce this one.
And Robbie's bird is named Benji, and she is an older bird, and I think she's really going to benefit from the senior Nutriberries.
Yay.
All right, so next month we are having, or I'm hosting, our annual gift guide and giveaway. So everybody has to sign up. You have to be in it to win it, so you need to be here. But I just want to let you know that we have some fantastic donations, and I'm continuing to work on it. So just a little heads up, I'm not going to give you all of them because I want to keep some surprises, but we are going to have some cages. Kings have donated some cages for us. We are going to have some boutique products, if I'm saying that correctly. What is it?
I think it's boutique. Not that I'm the reliable source, but yeah.
Yeah, it's BATIC or
Yes.
K. There you go. But it's Parrot Addict. They actually donated a beautiful jacket I'm going to be wearing, and it's going to be going to someone, as well as a tote. We have some ornaments, and we have some harnesses and toys, and we have some heating items, and we got some really good things that you guys want to join in, and you see what your parrots need. It's all stuff I use, all things I have purchased from these distributors and have used through the years. So I want to see you guys there. I want you to learn about it, and make sure that you go to their sites and make sure that you are helping them out after the holidays, because we're going to be doing it December 20th. And we will be shipping out shortly after the holidays. This way, it's not so much stress on us. And then this way, the shipping places, we don't have to worry about so many big packages getting lost. So, but yes, we got some great things. And like I said, I didn't tell you all because I want you to be surprised.
That's right. And it's a special time. We're moving it at, like, I think we're gonna give this sucker a bunch of room of time to give away so much stuff. I think it's 11 a.m. start time. So mark your calendars
Yes.
and adjust your clocks. Also, this is gonna be part of it.
East Coast, it's going to be 2 o'clock, just so you know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm on the West Coast. Yes. Check your local time zone for that. And then we're also going to be giving away a lot at that. Oh no, it's blue, so you're not going to see it. Wait, hold on a second. I'm going to have to. It's the Lafeber. Let me see if I can shoot. I'm going to blur my background because otherwise you're not going to see it. Okay, there we go.
You can
Because
see it when it was held up in front of you.
oh, you could. Okay, well, this is the Lafeber swag bag. Why am I so bad at doing this? It's a backpack, but there's
Now, wait a minute.
Yes.
You still have the icon for Lafeber Vet.
Oh, I do. I
Your
didn't.
picture's
Okay.
not there.
Thank you for setting me straight there. Let me, you know what? I'll just go back to what I had before. There we go. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. See, there we go. Lafeber backpack. Okay, there we go. Boom. And inside is the swag bags. It's got a going with the gold tin theme, gold tumbler. There we go. 50th
Nice.
anniversary of the Lafeber Nutriberries. And let's see, maybe some other stuff in it. We're gonna give away 12 of these. There's a sticker celebrating 50 years. Hopefully, yeah, we'll have be excited to win this. This will be part of that giveaway on December 20th. So we've got these 12 lucky winners are also going to get the swag bag from Lafeber. So yeah. So, all right. Well, there's something. Mark your calendars, please, because we would love to see everyone back for this second. Is this our second or third time doing this? Third time. Yeah. There we go.
And it keeps growing, and I'm thrilled that so many of my distributors and friends want to be part of it, and make sure that you guys all have a great holiday.
I know. I feel like we have more products this time around. Like it's the cages and all that stuff. Wow. That's
we have, I mean, you look in my background, there's a couple more things that you see in the background again that I use that are going to be there for somebody.
There you go. All right, mark your calendars. And then just a quick reminder, next Friday, we're going to be on with Dr. Tolley for another episode of Ask the Vet. So bring your vet questions for next Friday. And that it, also, I'm going to say, sign off here. Thank you, Lisa, for giving us the lowdown. I think you answered all those questions that were thrown at you very nicely.
Thank you.
Thanks for the ask. I think we should do a Ask Lisa just anything, another session sometime. I love this. Yes. All right. On that note, guys, everyone have a great weekend. All the best in your flock. Until next time, stay safe. Bye.
Bye.